I would like to begin this evening's shir, that this shir, the limud HaTorah, the people listening to the shir, it should be a schus for the people that are not well, should have a refuah shalema, and it should be a shmira for all those not to become sick. Today's shir, the topic is Be'inyan Dalet Kosos. It's the second shir of Dalet Kosos, which the morning koil will start to learn the inyan of Dalet Kosos. This shir is its own topic in Dalet Kosos and not relevant to the previous shir. Even if you didn't hear the previous shir, you can listen to this shir and enjoy it. When going into Dalet Kosos, let's begin. There are three types of Kosos shel bracha, Kosos shel mitzvah. Three categories of Kosos. And we're going to discuss the shir of the three Kosos. All three Kosos, the shir of it, Mikal el HaKoved, which means the smallest shir, and then so forward, how much you need more. There are three types of Kosos. There's bris milah, that's one. Included in bris milah is also birchas erusin, the kos that we use by erusin and esuin. The second type of kos is a kos by Kiddush, which we use for Kiddush Friday night, which we use for Havdalah, and which we use for Birchas HaMazon. Let's begin with the kos of Kiddush, of bris milah, Bris milah, which is the smallest shir. When do you use a kos by bris milah? By the bracha of Asher Kiddishanu, Asher Kiddush, you did me better. And also the Kriya Shem, the Shulchan Aruch and Hilchas Milah, Yeridei Siman Reish Samachei, Sif Daled, Zok the Shulchan Aruch. When one makes a bris on the day of a tainus, and everybody's fasting, and since everybody's fasting, what's going to be, who's going to drink the kos that the birchas, the bracha of Milah was done on? Who's going to drink that kos? Zok the Ramah, you give the noisna kos shal bracha l'tinoikis ketanim, you give it to the children. A day of tainus, you make a bris on Asara B'Tevis, Shavasa B'Tamas, everybody's fasting, so what do you do with the becher? You made a gofen, who's going to drink it? Zok the Ramah, you give it to children to drink. The Ramah continues, and the Ramah says, what happens on a day of Yom Kippur? There the Ramah says that you don't just give it to a child, but rather you give it to the child that's having the bris, the baby. Now, obviously, if you're giving you're giving it to the baby that's having the bris, obviously there's no shear, there's no maloi lugmav, roiv revius, you're giving a little bit. So it seems to be that even a little bit would be enough to drink from this kos, from this becher of the bracha, the becher that we used for al hamilah. And the same is spoken out clearly in the Beis Yosef b'Shem the Rashba, that only by Kiddush you need malay lugmav. However, over here in this scenario of bris milah, you do not even need Malay Lugmav. Even less than Malay Lugmav is enough, even a Mashu. Frektet has in Sifkat and Yod, it's the Chmavur in Oirachaim Simen Kuf Tzadik. That's Hilchas Birchas HaMazon. That everything that needs a kos, you need Malay Lugmav. Malay Lugmav to fill up the person of a cheek, but it's the shear of Roy Revius. So how could it be enough over here to have so little? The Hainu only to have a mashu, the little bit that you give to this baby that's having the bris. L'chayri, you do not have a malay lugmav. Now you may ask me, I hear. So what do you want? We should give malay lugmav to this baby. So lamaisa, if it's not an eitzah and we can't give it, so I don't know what the eitzah is. But how are you yoytze by giving to the baby when it's only a little bit? Answers the Taz over there in Hilchas Milah, Zok the Taz the following. That since the din of Malay Lugmav is only said by Kiddush, By Havdalah, Birchas Hamazon, those Kosos are Kosos that are Medina de Gemara. A Kos that's Medina de Gemara, over there you need a Malay Lugmav. However, something that's not Medina de Gemara, to say the reason why we have a Kos by a Bris Milah is because Ein Omrim Shira El Ala Yayin, but it's not Medina de Gemara. Since it's not Medina de Gemara, you don't need Malay Lugmav. Now, this is one case where we find the lowest level, let's call it tier 1, the lowest level of a kos that you only have to drink a mashu. The same as we find by Milah is also found by Birchas Eirison, which the Beir Hetev in Even Ezer Simon Medalid Sivav brings, I believe he brings from a Be'er Sheva in the Mafteches that says the following, that Birchas Eirison is when the Masada Kedusha makes a bracha before the ring is put onto the kala. V'hitalanu es asuras lana the chuppah v'kedushin, that bracha is made ala kais. The din is, and that's taka the minig, that you only drink a mashu, you do not drink roiv revius malay lugmav. And explains the Marsham Chelek Hey Simin Ches, and the same is also in the Aruch HaShulchan Simin Lamed Dalet Sif Tes, that since the Kos Lagabe Birchas Eirison is not Medina de Gemara, since it's not Medina de Gemara, you don't need Malay Lugmav. Just like we said by Milah, that the child, that baby, could drink even a mashu, and the reason for that is because it's not Medina de Gemara, so to over here also it's not Medina de Gemara, and you don't need Malay Lugmav. Further, we find, not only do you not need Malay Lugmav and a mashu is enough, since it's not Medina da Hashas, one could get away without even using a kais. The Shulchan Aruch says, over there, Simalam Dalid Sif Beis, that if you don't have wine by Birchas Eirison, you could use sheikher, you could use beer. And if you don't have yayin or sheikher, you can make the Birchas Eirison without a kais. So you see, these kaises that are used, first of all, if you don't have it, you don't need a kais. As opposed to Kiddush, if you don't have a kais, you can't make Kiddush. You only can make Kiddush with a kais. So the same over here, Lagabe Birchas Eirison, it's not Medina Dashas, and maybe even a mashu is enough. And Birchas Nesuin as well, though it's a shaila in the Poskim, the Shulchan Aruch brings that Birchas Nesuin, which is under the chuppah, the Sheva brachas, that's Birchas Nesuin. So too, if you don't have yayin and if you don't have sheikher, it's not ma'akev. So atkan lagabi kois milah, eirison v'nesuin, and that is you only need a mashu to drink to be yotza. On top of that is a kois of kiddush, havdalah, and birchas hamazon. Those you need maloi lugmav. Maloi lugmav is the sheer how much to drink, hilchas kiddush and hilchas Shabbos. Now, besides the sheer by kiddush, that the sheer is how much to drink, you have to drink maloi lugmav. There is also a din that everybody needs the kiddush. Everybody's mechuyev b'kiddush. Now, even though everybody's mechuyev in kiddush, but you don't need to be makadish. Not everybody has to make kiddush. One person can make the kiddush, and by one person making the kiddush, everybody's yoytze with shemei koina. Now that we have the first level of Milah, we have the second level of Kais Kiddush, Havdalah, and Birchas Hamazon. Now we'll go to Dalet Kaises. First of all, is there a shear? Better, what is the shear? How much do you have to drink? And v'oid, does everybody have to drink? We just finished saying by Kiddush, the shear is Malay Lugmav. And we said not everybody has to drink. Me'ikar adin, the one who makes the Kiddush, he has to, it's a Gemara and Erevin, a person, Sarach Sheyitoim, Rashi explains, because if not, it's a Genai. So by Kiddush, you need a malay lugmav, and the one who makes the Kiddush has to drink. Not everybody has to drink, even though everybody's mechuyev in Kiddush, not everybody has to drink. What's the din legabi dalet kosos? How much do you have to drink? And does everybody have to drink? Meaning to say is, could one person make Kiddush, or Haggadah, Birchas HaMazon, or Halal, and drink, and no one else has to drink? Does everybody have to drink? The Gemara in Pesachim, Daf Kuf Ches Amud Beis, the Gemara says, Tanu Rabbanon, Hakoil Chayavim B'dalet Kosos Halalu, Echad Anoshim, Ve'echad Nashim, Ve'echad Tinoikis. The Gemara in Pesachim. By the way, for all those that are on Zoom, and if you would like to ask a question, you could unmute yourself and feel free to comment, to join, to ask, just like a regular share. So the Gemara in Kuf Ches Amud Beis, the Gemara says, Tanu Rabbanon, Hakoil Chayavim Ba'arba Kosos, Echad Anoshim, Ve'echad Nashim, men, women, Ve'echad Tinoikis, children. Zok the Gemara, Amar Rabbi Yehuda V'chimata Elis Yesh L'Tinoikis, to drink wine. So the Gemara says, instead of wine, you give them nuts, you give them candy, you give them nash. But the havman of the Gemara is that even the Tinoikis should drink the wine. And Lamaskana, only Tinoikis don't drink wine and they get nash instead. But let's say Nashim, they all have to drink. L'chayra from here would seem to be from this Gemara that is a din for everybody to drink. Again, the Gemara says everybody's mochiv to drink. The Gemara says Katanam and not mochiv, and the Gemara says L'maisa, they do have to drink. Seemingly, from this Gemara would be that is a din for everybody to drink all four of the Dalet Kosos. The Mishnah, the first Mishnah in Arba Pesachim, Daf Tzadik Tes Amud Beis, the Mishnah says, V'lo yifchasu loi, when the tamchui, when they're giving out tzedakah, the tzedakah should not minimize by giving loi to him, by arba kosos shal yayin. You should not minimize of giving him, that means the minimize to give the roisha bias, the person him, you shouldn't give him less than dalet kosos. So Tosos of Anartas Medayik, it's mashma v'lo yifchasu loi, only him you give. Give him dalet kosos. And what's about everybody else? What's about a person's wife and children? Why should you not give him? V'lo yifchasu loi is mashma, you only give him and you don't give everybody. Is mashma that no, that dalet kosos is not there is no chiyah for everybody to drink. But rather, there is no chiyuv for everybody to drink, but rather there's a chiyuv only to hear it, bedoimet the Kiddush. Zak Tosos, just like Kiddush, there's no din for everybody to drink the Kiddush. There's a din that when a person makes Kiddush, he can be moitzi everybody, and everybody give you shemei koine can hear the Kiddush. There's no din everybody has to drink a koshal Kiddush. So to dalet kosos, since the Mishnah says that you only give the Rosh HaBayis the dalet kosos, would be mashma that only for the Rosh HaBayis is dalet kosos and not for anybody else. However, Tosos himself asks from the Gemara that we just mentioned before, the Gemara Kuf Ches Amud Beis says clearly, l'chayris pretty clearly, that there's a din for everybody to drink. From the Mishnah's mashma, the tzedakah only gives 4 kosos, which means only to the Rosh HaBayis, meaning to say is not everybody has to drink. However, the Gemara later, Kuf Ches, seemingly everybody has to drink the dalet kosos. So Tosfos Lamai says matcha, and Tosfos says that this that is mechuyev just means a mechuyev to hear the dalet kosos, to hear the Kiddush, the Haggadah, but they're not mechuyev to drink the dalet kosos. Tosfos goes back and forth. Rayas Lakan, is there a din to drink the dalet kosos, or is there no din to drink the dalet kosos? On the tzad that there is no din to drink the dalet kosos, it's exactly like Kiddush, which means one is mechuyev to hear Kiddush Pesach by night, one is mechuyev in Haggadah Pesach by night, one is mechuyev in Halal Birchas HaMazon. Tosfos concludes, and Tosfos says, one should be machmir to go like the tzad, v'nir lahachmir ulahatzrach arba kosos, to be matzrach dalet kosos, the hainu to drink. However, it's only a chumrah. Meikra the dina dalet kosos is exactly bedoima like Kiddush. Meaning to say, is there's no din for everybody to drink a kos. It's enough just to listen to the Kiddush. Frek the Stipler in Kehilas Yaakov and Psachim, Siman Samach Gimel, and he asks the following. There are many minhagim by the Seder. There are actually a lot of minhagim all over by the Seder. But even in regard to Kiddush, there are many places that everybody makes their own Kiddush. Even in that minute, some all make it together, some say one after the other. And then there are those places that everybody has their becher, their kos, but the Rosh Habayis makes the Kiddush and he's moitzi everybody with the Kiddush. One person makes the Kiddush and he's moitzi everybody. Frek the Stipler. Lefi, what we just said, Tosfos, that there's no din of drinking the dalet kosos. There's a din of dalet kosos like Kiddush, which means just like there's a din to hear Kiddush, there's a din to hear Kiddush, Haggadah, Birchas Hamazon, and Hallel. So Frek the Stipler, on a regular Shabbos, when the Rosh Habayis makes Kiddush, he's moitzi everybody the Kiddush. But over here, since everybody has their own becher, they're showing they do not want the Kiddush of the Rosh Habayis. Why? Because the Rosh Habayis is making Kiddush on his kos. Since he's making Kiddush on his kos, what's everybody else's kos? Obviously, they're showing that they don't want the Kiddush of the Rosh Habayis. Bishloima, Lafiu der Tzad, that we said that maybe there's a din to drink. So if there's a din to drink, everybody has their becher because everybody wants to drink. But if there's a din bedoimet to Kiddush, so why does everybody have their own becher? What's wrong with the Rosh Habayis that's making the Kiddush? And the Rosh Habayis that's making the Kiddush is making it in his becher. And you have Kiddush, Kavaldik, Shemei Koina. And for the Stipler, Alpi, what's Mavur in the Rosh? The Rosh in Arba Psachim, Siman Tezayin, the Rosh says, Lagabe Kiddush. If a person is moitzi Kiddush to a lot of people, and people have kosos by them, the halacha is that their kosos have to be kosos ksherim, which means it can't be pogum, and these other dinim, meaning to say, even by Kiddush, when the Rosh Habayis makes Kiddush and the Kiddush is by everybody else, that Kiddush that's by everybody, that kos that's by everybody else is attached to the Kiddush, and therefore it has to be kosher, it can't be pogum. Zok the Stipler moiridik. Lafi this, even by dalet kosos would be the same thing. The Kiddush of the Baal Habayis, Avadi's being moitzi everybody. But the pshat is, listen here, Aboisai. The pshat is when you're making Kiddush, your Kiddush is being moitzi everybody. I'm sorry. Your Kiddush is going on everybody's kosos. Your Kiddush and your Haggadah and your Birchas Hamazon and Hallel is going, when you be moitzi, it's not just that you're doing it on your kos. The Gavaldige Kiddush, what you see in the Rosh, is that your Kiddush goes on everybody's kosos. That's where the kosos can't be pogum. The Meilu, the Hadadina, the same din would be over here also, by Dalet kosos, that the Kiddush goes on everybody's kos. So maybe everyone gets Kiddush. This Shitas HaTosfos, that Dalet kosos is exactly like Kiddush. And just like Kiddush, everybody around the table just has to listen to Kiddush. So too by Dalet kosos, everybody just has to listen to the Dalet kosos, to the Kiddush by Dalet kosos. Is also mavur in the Goyin and Simon Reishai and Aleph. See if you Dalet learns the Dine Shtiyas Dalet kosos from Kiddush, which you see that he's medamet and the Dine Dalet kosos are medamet to Kiddush. Atkan is Shitas HaTosfos, the Dalet kosos is like Kiddush. However, the Rambam learns that there are two dinim by Dalet kosos. There are two dinim. The Lashon the Rambam says, Lefikach kishesoyid adam balaylo hazeh. Since the Rambam says, the Rambam before in Halacha Vav, the Rambam's Perek Zayin, Hilchos Chametz U'Matzah Halacha Vav, the Rambam begins that a person chayav adam laharis to show, like he went at him at Mitzrayim, he has to show cheres. Says the Rambam, therefore, kishesoyid adam balaylo hazeh tzarech lecha v'lishtois v'hu meisiv has to do b'aseiba. This we spoke about last year in Ashir and Dinei Aseiba. But the Rambam says, V'chol echad ve'echad bein anoshim bein noshim chayiv lishtois belaylo hazeh arba kosos shel yayin ein poichsen loy behem. The Rambam says clearly that is a din that you have to drink the dalet kosos medine cheres, to show cheres you have to drink the dalet kosos, and memela you have to drink the dalet kosos. Memela, besides the din of Kiddush, besides the din, which is also mavur in the Rambam, besides this din which we said in Tosfos, the Rambam has another din by Dalet Kosos, besides the din that you need a kois, legabi, to say Kiddush ala kois, Berchas Hamazon ala kois. There's another din, a din to drink the Dalet Kosos. The Brisker Rav brings this Rambam and goes with the Rambam clearly, these two dinim, to explain it. One din is a din Kiddush ala kois, and another din besides Kiddush ala kois, like we've been speaking the whole shir, the Bris Mila ala kois, and Erisin ala kois, and Kiddush ala kois. Avadras is Medina de Gemara. These Dalet koises ala hakois. There's another din of drinking the Dalet Kosos, and drinking the Dalet Kosos is Medine Cheres. The Brisker Rav brings that as is mavur also in the Tshuvas Harosh, Klal Chaf Hey, that there are two dinim of Dalet Kosos. So to sum up very clearly what we have so far, these are Shitas HaTosfos, that Dalet Kosos is the exact same like Kiddush. There's no din to drink. The one who makes the Kiddush has to drink. There's a Gemara, Mavarach Tzarech Sheyitayim. But there's no din of drinking Kosos by Kiddush. So too there's no din of drinking by Dalet Kosos. There's a din, Kiddush ala kois, and the other mitzvahs that we do al hakois. However, the Rambam, besides, in addition to this, the Rambam also has, which is really the first din, Chachamim were kaiveya that you should drink 4 kosos, medine cheres, to show cheres. I would like to share with you the Olam live, and the Olam that's going to listen to it afterwards, nafkaminos between Tosfos and the Rambam. Nafkamina 1, which is what we just said pretty clearly, is there a din for everybody to drink? Lefi Tosfos is no din for everybody to drink. The Rosh Habayis can have the kois. That's why the Mishnah, the Tamcha, we only give them 4 koises, and everybody else does not have to drink koises. They could just listen to Kiddush. Lefi the Rambam, Vada, everybody has to drink. There's a din shtir. Another nafkamina. What happens if you don't have wine? So if you don't have wine, could you be yoytze with Chamar Medina? Lefi Tosfos, it's bedoimet to Kiddush, to Havdalah, to Berchas Hamazon. If you don't have wine, so then you could make Kiddush. You make Kiddush with Chamar Medina. So too, Leil HaSeder, you could also make with Chamar Medina. You can make Kiddush. You could say the Haggadah with Chamar Medina. However, Lefi the Rambam, that besides saying Kiddush ala kois, which you would be able to say with Chamar Medina, there is another din. This other din is that you should drink to accomplish cheres. This din to drink to accomplish cheres, this din is you're only able to accomplish al yidei yayin. You can only accomplish it with wine. Zok the Ramah in Siman Tov Pei Gimel Hagah Ubimakoymoi shenoagim lishtois mashka nasa medvash akoyrim med, which is some sort of chamar medina. Zok der Ramah, this is in Hilchas Pesach, yochel likach oisoi mashke l'dalet koises and ein lo yayin. You could take this drink that's made out of honey, chamar medina, you can be yoitze the dalet koises. But Pashtus, this Ramah that says that you can be yoitze with chamar medina, Pashtus is Taisvis. Because Lafid Rambam, we just explained, since he's a din shtia, avadi, you need wine dafka. However, Dr. Briskerov, that even Lafid Rambam, this din of the Ramah is applicable. Why? Because even though the Rambam says medin dalet koises, you have to drink the dalet koises. Medina shtia dafka yayin, and you're not yoitz with chamar medina. However, else the other din to have kiddush ala kois, that yitaka should do. That yitaka you should do on the chamar medina. So Mela, this din of the Ramah, that the Ramah says b'mokim she'in la yayin, you should make a chamar medina the dalet koises. Even the Rambam will agree. You won't have the din of shtias yayin, but you'll have the other din, which comes out of Chiddush in the Rambam, that you can have one without the other. These two dinim by dalet koises, and you can be yotze one of the dinim without the other dinim, the other din. Oh, Lafi, what we just said in this nafkamina about chamar medina, which Lafi the Rambam, you're not yotze, and Lafi Taisis, you are yotze. You could use that perfectly, just like wine. What happens if a person does not have enough wine by the Seder, only for the Rosh HaMashpacha, for one person, there's only enough for one person, dalet koises. And this particular Shaila was actually a Maisa Shahaya by the World War I, the Briskerov with his brother Moshe, and came to Leila Seder, and they only had enough dalet koises for one person. So there was a noisev, a vikuach, a handlerai. What should be done? Lafi Taisvis. What do you do Lafi Taisvis? Lafi Taisvis, either the Rosh Hashanah could do it on wine and be moitzi everybody, because as we explained, not everybody has to drink. Or the other people, if they want to make their own kiddush, they can make it on chamar medina. So either way, Lafi Taisvis, you're not really missing anything if there's only one set of dalet koises of wine. Either the Rosh Mishpacha can make it on wine and be moitze everybody, or everybody else could do the dalet koises on chamar medina. Lafi the Rambam, the din of kiddush, bedoimit the kiddush, that din is the same thing like Tosfos. But this additional din that you have to be shoyse dalet koises, which we said is only wine, since it's a din and you could only be yotze by drinking wine. By the Rosh Mishpacha making the dalet, doing the dalet koises alayayin, the other people are not going to be yotze. So the shaila was, is there a mila for everybody to do a chamar medina, or could the Rosh Habayis just be moitzi everybody? Meaning to say, Lafi Tosfos, we're anyways only doing the din of Tosfos, Lafi the Rambam, we're only doing the din of ala kois, not the din shtia. L'chayr, there should be no nafkamina. It means either the Rosh Habayis could drink the wine, and be moitzi everybody, or everybody can be makadosh with chamar medina. Lamaisa, the Briskerov, I think Ramosha also, they both came out that he's a gavaldige maila for kiddush, that the Rosh Mishpacha should be moitzi everybody. Since these shaylas lagabi kiddush, that maybe not to make kiddush chamar medina, so the first of the four koises should be done dafka on wine, dafka yidei the balabais, and the balabais will be moitzi everybody. Another nafkamina between Tosfos that learns that dalet koises is bedoimet to kiddush, and the Rambam that is a din shtia. Lafi Tosfos, since it's bedoimet to kiddush, Tosfos would hold that the shear is to drink beloy lugma of the hainu roiv revius. However, the Rambam that learns that these dinei shtia, we understand the Rambam, the din in Hilchos Pesach, Semetafayim Beisif Tes, that l'tchatchila one should drink kulai, which means the whole revius. By kiddush you only need rubai roiv revius. Here kulai, but the avid rubai. And then there's even a yesh oimrem that one should drink roiv kois. But this is all when it's dinei shtia. If it's a din b'doimet a kiddush, malay lugmav is enough. And just on a side note, on a maimer amusker, not only it's enough, there's even at sada you should only drink malay lugmav, not more, because he's a bir alacha. This is a bir alacha and siman kufay in dalad, a tucked away siman. The bir alacha says there's a shaila in the poiskim and the rishonim, I think. If the birchas hamazon patters the wine shall fnei asuda. Achloikis. Lamaisa, we're not machmer, we hold it does. But lefid, it's sad that it doesn't patter. You want to be machmer, don't drink a shir revius of wine before the suda, because if you're going to drink a revius, these are going to be a suffix. Could be you have to make alagefen after benching. Because in other words, the benching is not going to patter that drinking, that wine. So there's maybe even a reason to only drink malay lugmav. Al-Kafana by the Dalit Koisis, there's a din and shtil, like we're saying in the Rambam. You drink a revius, maybe even roiv kois. And obviously there's no problem of the Birchas Hamadim pattering or not. Why not? But why is there no problem? Why is there no issue of not having the Birchas? Why is there no issue of Birchas Hamadim not pattering the Agofen of before? Because Lamaisa, at the end of the Seder you make al Agofen. The Ramah Simin Tafai and Gimel Sif Aleph Zok the Ramah. In the middle of the Ramah, actually towards the end of the Ramah, Bal Habayis la Yimzog Ba'atzmai. The Bal Habayis shouldn't fill up the Becher himself. Rak Acher Yimzog lo, a different person should fill it up for him. They're a Cheiris. In other words, it's more of a Cheiris for somebody else to fill up the Becher rather than you filling it up yourself. The Shaila is that the minig is not just to fill up the balabayas' becher, which means the balabayas doesn't fill up his own becher. The other people around the table also don't fill up the becher. So why does the Ramah say only that the minig is the balabayas doesn't fill up his becher? Explains Reb David Soloveitchik zal Gesundheit. Reb David Shlita, he explains Alpi, his father, the Briskerov, that the Ramah that says that he's a din to be moizig only to the Balabayas, that's going to Shitas at Toisvis. That Toisvis holds that there's no din shtia for everybody. So Memela, the Rosh Habayas, Batsim could be moitzi everybody. So Memela, there is no din, everybody's kois. There's no din for everybody to have their own kois. However, Lafi, the Rambam and the Rosh, that is a din shtia, and the shtia is a shtia derecheres. So Memela Avad is a din that everybody should fill up. Their becher should be filled up by somebody else, so it should be derecheres. I would like to just conclude with a shaila asked on Toisvis, which is Klor moving in the Shitas Rambam. The Gemara in Arba Psachim, the Gemara says, Kuf Yud Chesam at Beis. The Gemara wants to bring a raya that Birchas Hamazon Tuna Kais. What's the raya that Birchas Hamazon Tuna Kais? Because one of the four kaises is Birchas Hamazon. So the Gemara says, no, it's no raya. Really, it doesn't need a kais. We make Birchas Hamazon by the Seder al kais. The teretz is, once we already have the Dalit Kosos, Sok the Gemara, we put it already, never by mitzvah, Kiddush, Haggadah, Birchas Hamazon, but the Etzem Birchas Hamazon doesn't need a kais. So the shaila is, Bishloim Elfi the Rambam, that is two dinim. There's a din of shtia, and then there's a din al hakais. So the din shtia, that din shtia was to drink 4 kaises. Came another din, and they said, do it al Kiddush, do it al Birchas Hamazon. So Meila Avada Birchas Hamazon, Be'etzim is not tuna kais. No, once they already had the al kaises, so Meila they said, no, Birchas Hamazon. However, Lafi Toisvis, the whole Dalit Kaisis is, because Kiddush, it's nothing like different than Kiddush. So what's by Birchas Hamazon? Birchas Hamazon would be a raya, you need a kais. What does it mean? They had the kaisis and then they put it on Birchas Hamazon. Lafia Toisvis understands the whole din of Medina Dalit Kaisis is Kiddush, Haggadah Birchas Hamazon, which would seem that Birchas Hamazon does need a kais. The Shulchan Aruch HaRav, and with this I will end. The Shulchan Aruch HaRav, the Shulchan Aruch already says that a boli de chinuch, we brought this in the previous year, ketanim de boli de chinuch, we give them dalat kaisis. So the shaila is, why dafka boli de chinuch? What's about a 2-year-old that's not boli de chinuch, but he could be makayim drinking the 4 kaisis? Now explains the Shulchan Aruch HaRav, and he says that part of the dalat kaisis is Kiddush, Haggadah. So Mamela, just to drink the dalat kaisis without being able to bar chinuch of Kiddush, of Haggadah, they're not mechuyev. So Mamela, only a katan is bali de chinuch to this age of 6, 7 that understands Kiddush, then we give dalat kaisis. Lafi Tosfos, it's very clear, because Lafi Tosfos, the whole din of dalat kaisis is Kiddush, Haggadah, Savad. If they're not minyana of Kiddush, they can't have dalat kaisis. However, what's Lafi the Rambam? Why are we not machanach them to drink, to have yenedin, the din of drinking, even though they won't have an al hakais of Kiddush, of Haggadah? On that, l'chayr, the teretz is, first of all, it's not al aseda we spoke about in the previous year. The way how dalat kaisis are al aseda is that you have to break it up, and not just being quiet in between. There's a shita that has to be broken up literally with Haggadah in between. But also, even in the Rambam Alein, that these 2 dinim, the proper tzura is that you drink the dalat kaisis and it's al hakais of Kiddush. Both dinim. We were not mesakid chinuch just to do a half a mitzvah, even though you have one din without the other din. So Mela, even if you the Rambam, a cotton shloi gila chinuch, we don't give a 2-year-old to start drinking 4 cups of grape juice to have that din of dinei shtia. So to sum it up, the mitzvah of dalat kaisis, either you can learn it's the same as Kiddush, or besides it being the same as Kiddush, that it's nemer ala kais. There's also another din. There's a din to be shoyse, to drink the dalat kaisis. Wishing you atzlacha, keep well, all the best.